I think both teams are just kind of respect banning each other, right? Like you see the Mizu Brewmaster being removed now as well. A lot of Alacrity heroes, the Ember, the Puck, the DP, just none of them being allowed to go through here for NGX. And we'll even see the Enchantress being removed, just in case they did want to pick it up on, say, Polison, or even Jocam if you felt like playing Pos 4 Eng. Still OB.Neon, third pick for themselves, still another support to go. They'll go into the Darkseer themselves.
Ooh.
Now this is interesting. This is interesting because you and I know very particularly here that Mamang Daya also plays mid Darkseer. And I think he's the only player that I've seen in the region, let alone the world, that plays mid Darkseer professionally. So, what would you prefer, John? Would you prefer mid Darkseer? Would you prefer mid Kunkka?
I mean, Mamang Daya's Kunkka is so good. But I want to see the mid Darkseer. I feel like it should be the Mamang Daya Kunkka, though.
Yeah.
Like, wait. Let's think about this. What if you run a Pos 1 Kunkka for Palos? Because I think Neon did do that before as well. Maybe while CTM was still there. So they might have done it before with Palos. They could try that. Pos 1 Kunkka mid Darkseer. But that's so spicy. It's just not going to happen. It's likely Kunkka mid, Enryu takes a Darkseer. He kind of loves these teamfight control heroes like his Mars, his Tide. Darkseer plays to the same tone. So I think we're going to see stable lanes coming out from Neon, but you never know. You know, they could pull it out. They could run the Darkseer mid. Surprise Alacrity. He's still got a lot of Spirit Brothers on hand. Only the Ember banned out, so he's got his Storm. He's got his Void Spirit that we were expecting in Game 1. And NGX are thinking hard about this. They're like, all right, the Darkseer can go on 2 lanes. The Kunkka can go on 2 lanes as well. They go with the Abaddon, so that is our hard support here for likely Paulson on the 5. That means the Monkey Weaver can still shift around as the supports, and that does provide solid foundation here for NGX. Not the best controls on the supports, but again, a lot of durability coming through with their lineup, as they also pick up the Sand King now. So the team fight shaping up for NGX. That should be our Mizu hero on the Sand King, which means likely In Your Dream on the Monkey King, and then a Weaver 4. Actually, it might feel better to run the Weaver 1, Monkey King 4, because I think, again, Abaddon Weaver as a support duo just lacks a ton of control. At least the Monkey King 4 can give you information. You have 1 stun to kind of set up for the Sand King. The Weaver can focus on farm, build up the damage here.
Yeah, I agree. The draft from NGX is looking very strange this time around. I'm very curious to see how they finish things off and whether they're picking another Pos 1 up. It does feel like they are lacking a mid-hero for Alacrity as OB.Neon go into the Earth Spirit. And I think this kind of locks up the Darkseer Earth Spirit lane now, right, John? Like, it should be a Dark Spirit Earth Spirit off lane that we're about to see here from OB.Neon. Pretty disgusting kind of off lane to have as well, because double Iron Shell, you roll in, you Boulder Smash, they're stunned up, they're slowed up, and there's not really much of a way out. Mind you, if they are going against the position 1 Monkey King, it can be a little bit rough, obviously, because he does enjoy getting up close and personal to get those Jingu Mastery stacks going. But if you've got double Iron Shells going, it's not really going to matter too much.
Yeah, there's a lot of aggression for Neon from that lane. And for Narman, for Hustler, right? His Earth Spirit's really damn good. So they've got a really strong Pos forward for Hustler to play to be really aggressive with. The laning matchups might not enable that, but the mid rotations you can get out with Earth Spirit and Kunkka is pretty scary. There's a lot of control there, good damage coming through from the early levels. Maybe Earth Spirit just needs a level 3 really to kind of contribute a lot. Heck, even level 2 might be enough with Kunkka's control, and you can kind of get rolling from there. So Neon has this insanely early timings that they can hit. They can kind of scale into late game with the Darkseer Vac Wall combination. And now they can just kind of get big win condition for Palos on 1. There's a lot of options. Like they could go for something like, say, Medusa if they want to. I think Medusa with a Vac Wall is going to be really nice. With a Kunkka to sustain her. You don't have the best burn from NGX. Maybe the Weaver with a Diffusal build could kind of handle the Mana Shield, but might not be enough by itself. NGX do go into the Quap once more for Alacrity. Again, in that entire game, it was Alacrity's lane that kind of went a bit slower than you'd expect. I think you did expect the lane to get more. So in a sense, he did get a little bit more than you'd want in the matchup. And this time around, up against the Kunkka, it should be decent. And OB.Neon go to face his Void. So they've got the Void. Pause 1 here for Palos. They don't have a lot to play into that Chrono. They've got both. They've got Torrent. Maybe you can get an Iron Shell on the Void. initial damages might be an issue for Neon, but as long as Palos gets a chrono with Mamangdaya outside, I think you might have enough there to handle this.
It's definitely very risky here going for the Pos 1 Void. I mean, it's nice into the Sand King, that's for sure. Time Walk's always going to be very effective against Sand King, especially in the laning phase, and obviously to catch Alacrity out on the Queen of Pain, and hell, even Jokam on the Weaver. But I do agree there is a lot of damage lacking right now for OB.Neon, assuming you don't have that Iron Shell out at the very least. Let's see how it does pan out though, John. I mean, this is game number 2. Again, one of these teams has to go home today. And I say they have to go home. I mean, they're playing online, so I suppose they're already home, but you kind of catch my drift, Jonathan. Or they have to get out of the tournament. Is it going to be NGX in this game too, John, or are we going to see a game 3?
I think it's a lot more even in draft. There's not much save this time from OB.Neon. So you don't have to worry about a Cold Embrace cutting you off. You don't have to worry about Winter's Curse bringing up your team fight here for NGX. I think for NGX, they do have an earlier timer that they can play with. They've got great scaling into the mid game with a Monkey King Pause 1, and that's what they need to do. For OB.Neon, it takes such a long time for a Void to hit critical mass. Like early on, you could maybe go Maelstrom, maybe go Massive Madness, but damage is still relatively low. It's only in the late game where that Chrono really shines. And again, their follow-up for the Chrono is not amazing here from OB.Neon. Like, they've got Torrent Boat, maybe a Finger, a single Iron Shell, and a couple of rocks flying through with Magnetize, which is nice, but it's not like, say, a Lina outside, it's not like Quap outside, it's no Invoker combination as well. So maybe damage is an issue. I think for Neon, they've just got to be very conscious about the Chronosphere usage and ensure that you are catching more of the enemy team and trying to leave Mamangdaya outside as much as possible.
Okay. See how it does pan out here. OB.Neon. Last game around, tough laning stage. This game around might be a little bit different, but we'll see how the mid game goes. So you talked earlier about the lack of control on NGX, and I feel still like they are lacking, but see if it does cost them in this game number 2, as really the only stuns you have is the Monkey and the Sand King. Be a little bit concerning if things don't go well enough throughout the mid game. You do have the ultimate scaling here with the Void as well. I mean, Chrono is always going to be amazing throughout the late game. Never really going to get old. It's going to be all about the damage here for Palos. Both teams, they have met in the mid lane here. Alacrity's not getting quite the high five he wanted, but Mizu will walk over and give him one. And unlike last game around, it does not seem like First Blood is going to occur straight off the bat. Both teams will go ahead and secure a 2-for-2. And we'll start off at the bot lane, because they are going to go straight for a creep skip here. Enryu and Naman, I believe we have seen this before from OB.Neon, just trying to secure those very early levels up on their off lane. And of course, they're even going to find In Your Dream on the Monkey King. You won't really be able to do too much about this creep wave just completely dying. I suppose on the brighter side, he is going to be able to farm underneath this tier 1 tower. It shouldn't be too hard as the Monkey King.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get his own CS up and running. Not the toughest issue for the Monkey King. Pretty good base animation swing and good base damage as well. Paulson's the one with a tough job in this lane. Like Abaddon up against these two melee heroes, but all the damage they do provide, it's going to be tough to hold him back. You've got the shield up, so you can kind of pressure, do some damage back when it pops, but it is a bit more of a passive lane here for NGX, and that's something they've got to watch out for. Narman going for the pull should be punished, but well, it's still level 1, and Your Dream doesn't really have the hold to fully contest. At least they drag the creep wave off in the middle, so it's a very awkward spot for both sides to just get their levels up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll have a look at the mid lane while we have a chance as well. Of course, mid lane, Alacrity against Mamangdaya. I think we kind of already brought this up during the draft, but very, very rare that Mamangdaya loses on this mid Kunkka. Alacrity, arguably should have the advantage in the Quap, but I really can't say that for sure. I think Kunkka with the Tidebringer, especially once he hits that level 2 Tidebringer, just so much damage flying out onto the Quap. Even though you have Shadow Strike, I just don't think it does anywhere near enough to shut down Mamangdaya in this mid lane.
No, definitely doesn't do enough. I'm keen to see what Alacrity goes for in his skill build. Last time around, we saw him go for a 2-1-1 build by 4. Looks like he is still emphasizing that Shadow Strike. So he's lacking a bit of wave clear, but he does have a good time in trading hits with Mamangdaya. Does give him some durability as well. The issue is Tidebringer is still almost a superior spell. You don't get healing from that, but you do a lot more burst damage and a lot of wave clear as well from Mamangaya. So I think Alacrity's got to be a bit cautious in lane. Doesn't have the best wave clear with level 1 Scream. It's also much more mana intensive for the co-op, and that means water runes, bounty runes, and power rune control is going to be much more important here for NGX.
Of course, that final lane, John. Top lane, Palos UK against Jokam. And of course, Mizu. Now Mizu having a really decent time. Does seem like a much more standard, even trading lane, though as I say that, UK, now he's going to be fine. Won't be in range for the Burrow Strike there from Mizu. I don't really see too many kills happening in this laning phase. Like, sure, if you get lucky enough with the bashes from Palos, you might find a few decent kills, but I think overall both sides should be just fine.
You're just going to be playing a farming game on either side. I think the benefit here for the Void is that most melee heroes against the Sand King have a tough time. Faces Void, not so much. You can just time walk off a lot of that creep wave damage you can get with the Caustic Finale, and suddenly the harassment of Mizu is not quite there. Jokam as well wants to be slippery in the lane, wants to be sneaky, but when the lane's shoved in, you don't really have much space to be sneaky. He is doing good work with the initial use of that Swarm, though. Paulus will have to watch himself, but again, stable farm, just gonna build up. I think it is a bit more explosive for the side of NGX once the Sand King levels are up. So you've hit a fast level 5, you're gonna have a little bit more burst damage on hand to maybe jump that line. Whereas for OB.Neon, Void across each level isn't, the most aggressive early on. So it's really down to just UK to get the zone and get the damage off.
Bot lane, they do achieve first blood here with the double Iron Shells, but Narman, he might drop and does. In Your Dream, able to find a trade, but now he's getting low. Enryu able to find a secondary and does achieve a double kill. And in the meantime, up at top lane, they even lost the Weaver. So Jokam ends up dropping. Again, it does seem like a very nice start for the second game for OB.Neon.
They're getting everything they want from their lanes, and to be expected at bot, right? Like, it's a Darkseer, it's an Earth Spirit, you have a lot of early damage coming through. I think for the top lane, what NGX needs to watch out for is trading hits with line. Because the Weaver, he can get some good right clicks off, but the line has a lot of control, and Earth Spike is a deceptively large amount of damage early on, especially against something squishy like the Weaver. So ideally for Jokam, he's just applying pressure on Palos instead, but UK is doing a great job of just preventing that harassment coming in onto his POS 1.
Oh, absolutely. You see how aggressive Enryu can get now with that level 2 Iron Shell up. Even if Paulson does have the Aphotic Shield, Enryu will at least force it out of him. Meantime, the other lane's going just fine for both sides. Though I must say, mid lane is extremely even between these two. Alacrity and Mamangaya just on par in terms of CS. Neither one looking very unhealthy either. I mean, both just seem fine. But we are going to start approaching those power runes soon, and that's when this lane should get very exciting as they can start to rotate. But top lane, Mizu's been caught. Bashes are out, Palos. He was waiting a long time for those bashes to come out. Does get it on the last hit, and that'll be one kill here for the Faceless Void.
Yeah, it's a great start for Palos, and again, we're seeing where Jokam's focus lies. He's trying to zone out UK as much as possible, but Sand King versus Void is just tricky for Sand King. Oh.
Alacrity's trying to fight back. Mamangaya is going to go down. Nice pick off there by Paulson and Alacrity as Narman now is going to try and back, but he will not make it. Another kill for Paulson. So a double kill for that POS 5 Abaddon. Just rotating at the right time, and in the meantime, UK ends up dropping top lane. So Jokam, he was trying for so long to get that kill. He may drop because of this and does. He finally does at least get the Lion down.
You're starting to find some aggression coming in here from NGX. I think that emphasis on mid is exactly where it should be. You want to slow down Mamangai's pace into his armlet, into whatever he wants to pick up as his first item, because he is the snowball hero for Neon. So NGX has their priorities right. And they are still giving a lot out to Neon. Like, Palos has basically a free lane, tier 2, 3 to 5 on Void, has his level 6 up, so Chrono's there if he wants to show up. They do manage to punish Enryu on the bot, just for being a bit too far forward. In Your Dream now at level 6, but level 3 Jingu can trade hits a little bit better and lifesteal through a lot of that damage. But overall, I think Neon's not too far off. Like, they are hitting their early spikes a bit quicker, and then NGX have evened the game out a bit, but I think they need to start finding some aggression now.
Paulson, he's going to avoid the roll there from Narman. Mamang Daya just trying to get within range for the X, but is going to be able to unfind it. So Paulison, nice kind of juke there on the Abaddon, going to be just fine. And I love the queued up item here for Paulison, John, straight into the Aghanim Scepter apparently. Do you agree with this itemization?
Wait, what's Paulson playing again? What's he on the? Right.
Never mind that, John, because UK is being chased down now. Joe Cam is going to drop. Nice little rotation again from the Weaver, and I suppose it's another positive as you can Sakuchi to give vision, but now Palos has moved in. He's got Chrono, but he won't commit it yet, but in the end he does now. Boat to fly out. They have got the Quap, I believe. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Palos able to take one for himself. Just return right back to that top lane. Back Paulison finds Enryu again. So his third kill of the game now in that pos 5 Abaddon.
Yeah, it's helping him rush towards that Ags. There's value in it. I don't know how much. Mist Coil to save you during borrowed time is pretty nice, I guess. If they're all caught in Chrono and the Abaddon is, in there with the Ags, I guess that could stall, kind of acting as a pseudo-winter Wyvern heal coming through on a wide AoE. There's some utility there. I don't know about just rushing it though. Like it's a interesting take from Paulson, but this is the guy who built Vanguard on Vayne, so there is that as well.
True. Palos just being chipped away at by Joe Cam as Mizu is now going to rotate with the Burrow Strike up, and In Your Dream's even going to show up. Very nice kill there for NGX now. So make it an 8-6 with a 2k net worth advantage. They want that tier 1 top tower. And it's just, although they had a great start on OB.Neon, it hasn't transitioned into an even better game yet. As NGX, they've managed to claw their way back, and it seems like this game number 2 is just going very well for NGX's bot lane. Well, they're at least going to find Paulison. That's something. Mizu has rotated along with Joe Cam. They might try to turn here onto Narman, but Mamang Daya shows himself now with the X and boat out onto Joe Cam. They'll find a secondary. Narman will take that one.
Finding the support kills, Mizu is a bit of a tough nut to crack with a Vanguard up, but they've got the detection. Maybe they can overwhelm the Vanguard with magic damage they have with the Iron Shells. No finger up in UK though, so no instantaneous burst. And the presence of the Sand King is enough to stop that push. Not enough to stop Enryu from creep cutting. And I think for OB.Neon, there is still a little bit more cooking time to be had here. Like, you have a Void, you have a Darkseer, you need a Blink, you want the Ags on the Darkseer, you want the Hood of Defiance from tanky. That does take some initial farm. They are still finding aggression, but the large engagements kind of need to wait out. The power spikes for NGX are a lot earlier. They've got great physical damage output with a Weaver and Monkey King right now. And In Your Dream is starting to get that space up on the top jungle. It's not being hunted out. All the focus has been on bot. OB.Neon will smoke towards mid though.
Mamang Daya gonna have his smoke broken, but he does have an Observer Ward on the high ground. Corrin gonna connect, roll in, Narman. I don't know if they have enough damage, but they'll hex him up. There you go, from the Lion, but they still don't have enough. Alacrity is gonna be able to blink away just in time. In Your Dream secures a double kill on the Monkey King. And in the end, they're unable to delete this Quap.
Yeah, see, I think Mamang Daya was trying to walk back to get the Tidebringer hit on the creep wave, and it was either out of reach or there was a good use of the Illusion Rune coming out there from Alacrity. So, not quite able to get the full brunt of it. They do get punished for that deep dive, and NGX are starting to, again, find their foothold. They've got a much stronger early spike with their damage output on a Quap, on a Monkey King, that are able to just get a lot more work done. In comparison, Paulus can't really join in. He still has Chrono, and they can't really play around that. Unless you want to Chrono boat someone for control, that's pretty much it. He's got the Maelstrom up though, and he's rushing into the BKB. So he knows that even though the damage is not going to be great, he needs to be able to show up, provide control for the team to play with their Kunkka here.
UK gonna get jumped. Mamang Daya be there with the X and the Torrent. Alacrity should still be okay as Paulison is right behind him. Emphatic Shield making it very tough for them to actually hold down anyone right now as OB.Neon. They are playing a rather passive game, aren't they? I mean, I suppose it does go back to having a Faceless Void, and of course Palos is going to just need more farm than your general kind of pos 1. they have been relatively quiet considering they do have a pretty aggressive style of draft.
They've been kind of sitting back, just waiting for these initial items to come through. Like the pipe from Enryu is going to allow them to sit through a lot more of that magic damage coming out from the Sand King and the Queen of Pain. So kind of need that up and running on your Darkseer. They don't have the Blink initiation from their offlane yet, as again, they're going for durability first. And they're also lacking burst damage for the line. UK is about to hit 6, just one more creep needed. Maybe with that finger up, they can go on the hunt as 3 or 2, and they do smoke up. UK, finger ready, just wants to find a nice easy kill. Looks like they'll try to find it on the bot lane.
As long as you land the X, it should be alright. Mizu's going to come out of the forest now, and well, he might pay for it. Immediate with the Sandstorm. Keep in mind, you do have Paulson right behind, but it won't matter as he gets vacuumed right in by Enryu. Still going to be okay with the borrowed time. Jokam almost dropping in the backside. As now Alacrity shown up on the Quap, and they will at least be able to get Narman. But a big Chrono Palos looking to turn it back. Does get Paulson, and now they might have Alacrity. Wukong, though, is going to make it in time, but they've already lost the Quap. Palos, he wants to try and man fight with the bashes out, but eventually will have to time walk away. But they might be able to reinitiate on this Monkey King. Torrent's off the mark, though. In Your Dream in the tree line is going to be safe, and well, that'll be enough. They get 2 valuable pickoffs, they'll back out of it.
They make the team fight work on Neon's side, finally getting the finger out, and UK does allow them to get first. NGX did commit for the defense, didn't really pan out. And Mizu, making his way top, could be in danger.
That's a great silence out from Narman into the roll. Mizu doesn't have the Burrow Strike available, or even if he did, you always have the X back there from Mamangtaya. Another nice valuable kill here is even Mamangtaya going to get rewarded with a double damage rune. And on the other side, Jokam forced the time lapse and try to run the other way. Hex is out, but he is still Sakuchiing through and is going to be able to make it. They will not be able to find him. It's like nobody was really... And Narman was holding a dust, but I suppose maybe it was on cooldown.
Yeah, just not able to get that kill. Not the biggest kill to miss out on. You did force time lapse as well. So Jokam is not going to have that for at least a minute. Not the longest cooldown in the world. Still, NGX starting to hit a couple more power spikes despite those deaths. Mizu has his blink up. So your Sand King now has the initiation for the team to play off to kind of back up In Your Dream and the Monkey King if he wants to show up. And interestingly enough, In Your Dream has gone for the Midas build on his Monkey King as well. So he wants to just scale into the late game, get an early item advantage, play with the damage output, and control the Monkey King can provide. So it's a different philosophy than the one we've seen from Mizu on the offlane Monkey, of course. Just trying to get big, get as much done as possible, and the Monkey King is still out farming to face his Void. Just the shortcoming of the Void. He does have some good mobility to jump across camps. With a Time Walk, he doesn't really have the best wave clear or AoE damage coming through and clearing out the waves. So the Monkey King's always going to have the edge. With the Midas up as well, the Void's just going to lag further behind. So I think Palace will have to deal with an item disadvantage for quite some time unless they start finding the catch on that Monkey. But In Your Dream's done a good job of just avoiding these engagements. So Neon going to have to settle with what they can find. They will group up for the bot tier 1 once more. It's like the 3rd time they've grouped up bot. Should be able to find a tower now, as it looks like NGX aren't willing to go for that defense fight any longer.
T1 bot slowly being chipped away. In the meantime, NGX, they do now have a Spirit Vessel up on Jokam, so may look to just get even more aggressive on OB.Neon. There is a bit of a smoke, though, coming in from our Darkseer and Earth Spirit as Mizu, trying to blink away, does actually manage to Burrow Strike out of the Torrent. So it's going to be just fine. Mind you, there was no real follow-up to the Torrent anyways. Enryu and Narman were taking the long way around. Jokam, he's going to be just fine. He scouted them out with that Observer Ward. Also, OB.Neon, they already have a sentry down, so they know it's there. Be able to take it out. Again, neither side willing to try and force a fight yet. I suppose, especially with the Midas up on In Your Dream, you're not really interested in forcing fights unless you maybe have the Desolator going on the Monkey King. You'll just continue to work on towards that. OB.Neon, however, might find themselves a Weaver as Palos is going to get run into. Narman. I don't think he was spotted yet, but Alacrity has shown, and now they definitely know, because Mizu is coming in. Nice blink forward with the Orchid. They should have an Earth Spirit with a Burrow Strike and a Sonic Wave out. They do at least get one, but now the Chrono. Palos, he's got the Quap down, but how are you going to get the damage out? It won't matter, the Palos is there. In fact, they still find it. Palos goes for more, but Boundless Strike in your dream. He's been caught. Boat is there. Mamangtaya traps him up, and eventually they should be able to get through him, and they do. Paulson, he tried desperately to try and save his cause, but none of them would be able to survive, as now Mamangtaya has been jumped at the epicenter, not doing enough damage quite yet. Mamangtaya gonna run, but Jokam is on the chase. Still Mamangtaya, nice armlet toggling, is gonna keep him alive. Even with the Spirit Vessel out, it was not enough. So OB.Neon winning another great team fight for themselves.
Yeah, and I love seeing this from Neon. Paulus just shows up, uses the Chrono, manages to keep the line outside, and Jokam?
Yeah, he's been trapped up and he gets bashed to death. It's pretty damn hard playing Weaver into a void. So he does have time dilation, and well, he pops that once and you're basically just screwed over.
Yeah, and this is where maybe that Ag's build-up in Paulson might not be paying off. Early on, he can't really contribute too much on the Abaddon. He's getting some good aphotic shields out. The Mist Coil is coming through to heal, but it's not enough to really sustain against the damage of OB.Neon right now. Perhaps if you had an early Holy Locket, maybe even just having a handy Force Staff or Glimmer Cape, that could be enough to mitigate some of the magic damage coming through and force more dust usage out from Neon. We'll see if the Ag's payoff is going to work. It's still about 1,500 gold away for Paulson. Of course, that additional healing for him in the front line is maybe going to do enough. Like the borrowed time with a Mist Coil flying out sounds like it's nice. Have we ever seen that, Mike? Can you remember any game where we've seen Abaddon Ags with this with this specific Ags upgrade? No, right?
I have not. No, I mean, I can imagine it like ultra late game, but never as a first item, that's for sure. And I don't think it's too bad, but I do definitely question how much value it's going to have. I mean, I guess we'll see. You never know, John. It might be the most broken Ags in the game, but it is somewhat doubtful.
Yeah, like I guess in a way, if you think about the numbers, right? Max level Mist Coil is 260. You'll be flying out a Mist Coil every 525 instants of damage. So you're basically halving the damage.
Yeah.
Output. It's like, think of it as like a 50% damage reduction, which is nice. It's just very situationally used. You have to be in range with a Bard time running as well, which is, again, very situational.
Mizu is under vision. Problem is, he's out of sentry vision, but it won't matter. Mizu, he has been caught out. I do like the Tinker Ward that was placed down there by OB.Neon, expecting this kind of movement from Mizu. They kind of just read him like a book, able to pick him off. However, bot lane, Enryu, he might be in a similar boat now, as he's going to try and surge away, but a Boundless Strike's going to hold him right down. Palos, he'll time walk, but can he get himself out? Enryu's running. Palos, he's got BKB Chrono anyway, so I don't think he was overly concerned. He could have always turned with the Chrono if necessary. Hell, now he's almost got the full Mjolnir up. So the damage is certainly rising for Palos. And again, you start to get worried as an NGX fan. Does in your dream, does he have enough damage to respond, or does he have enough control? Because this Void, it feels like Palos has had a very free game thus far.
Yeah, he certainly has, and I think for In Your Dream, the core-to-core matchup is a bit iffy, because Chrono is... You know, Chrono is Chrono. You don't have any way of stopping Chrono, no swaps to save, and that just makes it hard for you to position yourself in these fights if you don't know where that Void is. You have to lock in that Faceless Void first. But Palos with a BKB is very hard to lock in. You don't have anything that pierces that, and that just means the Void has a very free time in setting up for the team. OB.Neon gonna group up mid, push that tier 1. No defense coming through from NGX, only Paulson showing in the lane. And it's not really able to get much done. They are coming in now, but a bit too late, as the bot jungle is now in the control of OB.Neon. So for NGX, you know, IYD Alacrity has to focus on farming in the top area, maybe the triangle if they feel safe, and just keep trying to build up. In Your Dream, working towards the BKB, again, that helps, but you still worry about Chrono because it doesn't care for spell immunity at all.
No, it certainly doesn't. He's starting to look like a bit of a tougher game for Nigma Galaxy once again here. Mamangtaya shows mid lane, trying to see if he can X up Jokam, and he should be within range now to be able to get the X off. Jokam will try to find a way out. Does have Mizu there, and MLP not going to fully commit anyway. Just way too close to that mid-tier 2 tower. There's always the rotation potential for NGX, so you don't want to dive just for a support Weaver. In the meantime, though, NGX, they're not really ready to fight anyway. It does feel like Alacrity does want the BKB up before he does go much further. And I think that's fair enough. His bot lane, Wukong's committed to try and take down Narman, but he's fine. In fact, now you might try to force the fight as OB.Neon, knowing the Wukong's is down. There you go.
It's a lot of controlled tunnel.
They got Hex out on Mizu. Do they have the follow-up? Mizu, they're going to a sandstorm, but they've got the detection. They've got the silence, and they've got the control. Another nice easy kill here is mid lane. Chrono's committed. Palos, he'll go straight in onto Jokam. He hasn't got the highest amount of damage, but he's got some luck with the bashes out. And MLP, he'll give the tip over to Polison. He's going to try to run. He does still have borrowed time, and a nice Sonic Wave from the high ground will take down Narman. Palos, he's still going to try and go for this Abaddon kill. And in the end, might be able to pick it up. They cannot stop him. Palos even time walking to the high ground. He'll BKB up. He's going to go for the man fight against the Monkey King, but he ends up paying for it. Oh, Palos, that's way too confident.
Yeah, that was way too forward. Maybe he didn't expect the Monkey King to show because they knew he was bot. And does get punished now, UK.
If you get in your dream, it won't matter if UK dies. In fact, UK's just fine as they vax back. And, well, you know, I said Palos was being too confident, John, but in your dream does the exact same thing.
Yeah, and it then just works out for OB.Neon. You don't lose your support, you trade cores, you kind of keep that Monkey King down. The damage output of In Your Dream is high. It's not enough to one-shot a Monkey King yet, to one-shot a line yet. I think that's your big issue. You want to go for the easy kill, wasn't as easy as expected. And OB.Neon hang on to the lead. 2K, 15 to 20 here at the 24-minute mark. And they've still got a lot of power spikes to hit. Enryu, he's got the full Guardian Greaves, Pipe of Insight up. So the auras are keeping them alive. They've got a ton of sustain in all of these team fights. And Enryu probably just needs a blink, maybe the Ags upgrade to really get going here. Once you have that up and running, your team fights become a lot better. You can blink back wall. And you see the Roshan available as well from that fight. They're going to go into it. They don't have the best wards to spot NGX coming in here. But NGX also don't have the forward Roche wards to watch Roche be taken. So they might miss out on the opportunity. They should sense something's up. They've got the scan. I don't know if they can make it in time with the damage here from OB.Neon, though.
No, I don't think so either, John. I mean, you've got the Ags up there on Polison to boot, so we might get to see this Ags do something this game. But Roshan's down already. Aegis is onto Palos. And well, you still don't have Chrono for another 10 seconds, but you could certainly buy enough time in this team fight if it did break out for Palos to just kite around, but well, that won't happen anyway. Palos, he'll get back to farming, and in the meantime, NGX, they've got to play a lot more cautiously now, knowing that the Chrono is available on OB.Neon.
Yeah, there's a lot for OB.Neon to ride with here. And for NGX, they still are lacking tools. I think Alacrity with the Orchid's in a pretty good point with the Orchid BKB. In Your Dream, it does feel like he needs his own BKB up before anything else can happen, because that will force the Chrono out from Palos in every engagement. So there's going to be a bit more back and forth for NGX. More spells to have to be committed from Neon to win out these fights. For NGX, I think it's just a matter of patience. Maybe they feel confident against the scaling of the Kunkka. That could be one way to look at it. Like, down the line, Kunkka is more of a utility hero. You will get some good power spikes with your Ghost Fleet, and of course the Ags upgrade, and the Ag Shard, which is already up for MLP. But the Quap will constantly hit harder as the game scales on. And that could contribute here. They are looking to advance tier 2, but Paolo's not overcommitting yet, is hanging a bit further back.
He knows they're in the tree line. They're going to see Mizu. The roll will be there, though. Silence as well. Narman. Sonic Wave already committed as the Yule Scepter is out. The Torrent. Oh, it's not going to land. Mizu should be just fine. As Polison was behind just in case they needed it. OB.Neon. So going to play carefully, looking for the right moment to be able to jump in. Looks like they aren't confident enough to try and go past that tier 2 tower yet. And, well, I can't quite blame them as, well, NGX, they've smoked up. They're going to go for a very long wraparound. And in fact, they might find Palos very soon. But no, never mind, they'll go back the other way. Instead, they'll run into Naaman, who is underneath vision, and also at least get one kill. I believe that should be about it, but they are going to try onto UK to boot. Earth Spike is going to be completely whiffed. They should be able to find a support duo here as UK. It'll be searched up, but it won't be good enough. So NGX, even without the Aegis, they do get a support duo pick off. I suppose that'll be good enough for them for now.
They're going to be able to hold off. That will prevent the push coming out from Neon. They're going to need to wait for respawns to have a better shot at the teamfight. They still have really good teamfight control, though. So I think if Neon execute properly and counterfight well, the full 5v3 isn't actually the easiest to fare for the side of NGX, and that means they're also going to have to be a bit more cautious. Get the farm while they can. Keep trying to wait out this Aegis. Keep trying to build up on In Your Dream and on Alacrity to hit those spikes. And kind of go from there. BKB up and running now on In Your Dream. So he's got his fresh 9-second charge. And does have the Echo Saber back up and running as well with the Ogre Axe in the base. So he's going to be safer up front. Again, only needs to worry about the chrono in that point. And Palos will have to think twice about the chrono use. He also has to be careful of chronoing around the Abaddon as well, although.
Yeah, roll in. They found Jocam on that Weaver. Silence is there, they should have the control, but do they have enough damage? Hex is out now as well, UK with the vision, but the spike carrot, or rather the Earth Spike, is not going to land. Jocam though still trying to run, but the time lapse now going to force him back. They do spot him out again. It has proven to be a very difficult kill to try and get, but UK is going to find him. Finger out, and John, in the meantime, In Your Dream dropped. Chrono was committed there by Palos. He gets a solo pick off on his own. Just required the chrono.
Yeah, we're at that point in the game where the Void's damage is overwhelming. Just with the Mjolnir, you pointed it out earlier, Mike. He has a lot more going for him. And he doesn't care for the BKBs. Like, yeah, he had to pop his own 8-second charge. Doesn't matter. He finds the pause one. There's no buyback from the Monkey. That will open up some space for the tier 2 pushes. The last outer towers left for NGX. And without the Monkey, their teamfight just got infinitely harder. Sure, they've still got Burst Strike, Epicenter, and Sonic Wave. They need to find really good angles to make it work here.
Be set up. Mizu, he'll go all the way onto Mamangtaya. Sonic Wave committed, but the BKB's there in time. In fact, now the boat will fly out. He's just keeping right out of there as Enryu Vacuum Ball is out onto 2 heroes with the Earth Spike to follow up, and that'll be Mizu gone. They'll keep trying onto Polison now. And eventually the borrowed time is going to wear off. They'll time-lapse him back. It probably won't be enough. In fact, they found a third now. Jocam also getting caught. Polison, he tried for the TP, but gets bashed first hit. I suppose the only positive was that Enryu does drop in the end. But that's about it. Everything else going the way of OB.Neon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty forced fight. It looked like they were going to have enough damage from Mamangaya. They didn't. Kunkka at this point is just way too tanky. Has a lot of armor, armlet HP as well, and the boat buff just holding up there for Mamangaya. For NGX, they did manage to wait out the Aegis there, Mike, so no second life on Palos. He's going to be a little bit more vulnerable up front, but he's got strong defensive items. Lincoln's up, along with the BKB, Butterfly next for some evasion that the Monkey King and the Quap aren't ready to kind of deal with. In terms of physical output, means that Palos is going to be very survivable up front, and it's still going to be a massive issue of keeping this Void pinned down. His damage output's going to skyrocket, and the Chrono has got a lot going for it, and for NGX, and their scaling is still there. It's still a Monkey King. You have a great AoE denial with a Monkey King, Sand King, and Queen of Pain. It's just a lot harder to pull off, whereas for OB.Neon, their stunts are a lot more reliable, coming in from their off lane, coming in from their Lion and Earth Spirit. They've got good silences. Really easy ways to get the fight started. For NGX, it feels like they rely so much on Mizu to get a great burst strike in Epicenter and have the follow-up damage from In Your Dream and Alacrity. And they've tried it a couple of times. It's just not enough burst damage to deal with the sustain on OB.Neon yet.
That it is not. 6k net worth advantage. Of course, NGX not anywhere near out of this game, but it is getting harder as time goes on, as Palos now has the Butterfly up. So much more damage in the Void available. And of course, Ags on Mamangtaya. So the Torrent Storm going to create even more chaos. And I think this is the really scary timing now for NGX to try and go into. These BKBs are just going to be so important throughout these team fights. Exponentially now with that Torrent Storm up. As soon as they're down, Mamangdaya, he'll pop the Torrent Storm and, well, then you've got some big problems. It seems like NGX, all they can do at the moment is just keep pushing out the lanes and avoid OB.Neon. But there is a big smoke up here. Neon, they want to try and move down to the bot lane where they know NGX are hanging around. Try to find at least something for their time, but instead they'll take back the outpost. Just control the amount of XP distribution in this game too. I suppose in the end, you know, they've always got the high ground to go. Oh, Mizu. Couldn't have been a worse time for him to rotate into that mid lane. He's gone. He already committed the Pyro Strike. That's just unfortunate.
It's a great pickoff. We were just talking about a lot of your AoE control, a lot of your jump potential here from NGX was riding on Sand King, getting that initiation. They do have buyback on Mizu if they want to force it out. They know there's no second life on Palace and they're going to have to. That's enough to force OB.Neon back, play more conservatively. Their bot lane was extremely shoved in by Alacrity. They did lose a tier 2. So the Pop made use of that space quite nicely, having the AC up as well to protect from the physical output of the Void when the Chrono does come out. So Alacrity has more to play with, more durability, more presence in these fights. But the issue for NGX is still finding those angles. They have not been on the aggressive for a while. They have smoked up here, trying to make use of Mizu's buyback. But I think they're going to have to accept that it might not really lead to much here.
Mamangdaya. Find Paulison. I'm going to connect. Again, he does have borrowed time, so this will take quite a while, but... well, Paulison, is he going to have any help coming in? I mean, Tidal Wave's going to drag him back once again. They'll silence him up. Palos will now show up, and it seems like they have accepted the fact that Paulison, he's not going anywhere. No way out for the poor guy. Will end up going down. OB.Neon able to take another kill. Unluckily for OB.Neon, though, Roshan is still a minute 45 away. So they've still got to wait quite a bit of time to go for that Roshan play. And in the meantime, NGX, they will continue to just pressure the bot lane. That's about all they can do at the moment.
They're keeping that lane shoved in, so someone's always got to respond here from OB.Neon's side. But they don't have much of anywhere else to play with. They've got the triangle now on the dark side to farm up in between waves. That is allowing steady output of gold for Alacrity and In Your Dream, just not enough to overtake. It's just simply a very confined area for NGX right now, whereas you look at Neon, they're playing the opposite triangle. They've got a million sentries in the lanes to spot out Jokam, and they're just being patient. They just kind of want the second Rosh, get the free shard, get the Aegis up, go for high ground again. They've got everything they could ask for, and they're going to have even more on top of that. Enryu, saving up for the refresh, just lacking one more perseverance, not too far off. So next fight comes, you're going to have to deal with double vac, double wall. If you had the Ags on top, that would have been like 4 Iron Shells as well, but not quite there yet. Still double Iron Shell with the Ags is going to be strong. And Neon again, like, their lineup is just overwhelming NGX when these fights do break out. For NGX, they still need to catch up in network. They need to catch up in items to have presence. I do like that In Your Dream has gone for the MKB on his Monkey. Now that will take care of the Butterfly on Paulo, so you will be able to get some damage off onto the Face's Void. I just don't know if that's still going to be enough, because the Void, he can just time walk out and suddenly that damage is gone.
Yeah. It certainly hasn't been very easy, and it goes back to the draft, right? Like, you just don't have the lockdown for Palos. He does now have the Roshan in front of him. Because NGX should be very well aware that this could be happening, and they will start to move themselves into that Radiant Triangle to get in position. The Swarm will give the information they need over this Roshan pit. There is going to be a smoke out. OB.Neon, they're ready to fight. They've got a Refresher Orb up on Enryu, so double wall, double back is available. Definitely a very tough position for NGX, but they've got to try. Roll in, who have they got? It's going to be the Monkey King, but In Your Dream will turn onto Narman. Boat will fly in, but it won't get too much done. Palos still moving. They get a Hex out. In Your Dream, he's got the BKB available, but he can't get it off in time. But the time lapse is going to save his life, as now they drop the Wukongs, but nobody is trapped inside of it. Oh, that time lapse just in the nick of time, saving In Your Dream. They may still lose Paulison though, as he does not have borrowed time up. And in fact, they may have lost another. They have found the weave on. That'll be JoeCam to drop 2. So back at the Roshan pit. And I think NGX, they're going to be forced to leave this Roshan B.
Yeah, that's Shard, Aegis coming out for Neon. They only find 2 supports. Supports are enough. They forced out the Wukongs, they forced out the BKBs. They do lose UK, good cleanup from Malak, but he's in danger now.
He's forced the BKB blink. I suppose you just got to take any kill you can get right now, and UK is going to be down for over 50 seconds. So it may make them second guess trying to go high ground here on OB.Neon. And again, NGX, as you can see, immediately prepping that bot lane, trying to force back OB.Neon. The question is, do they take that? I mean, they are still situated in the mid lane, ready to go. They just need a creep wave. But it's apparently taken too long for OB.Neon, and it looks like they will respond to the lanes. Or maybe not, Palos, he'll respond to the top lane. And I suppose this is something you always do have, is the X back with the TP. That's one way they don't exactly have to rotate all the way back to their base.
Still allows some side lane presence despite not having any travel stuff on him, although.
Alacrity, he's been X'd up. Torrent is going to be there, and Alacrity's going to cop the boat. Another great kill here for OB.Neon. And it only gets worse. Mamangdaya now finishing up the full AC.
Yep, even tankier on that Kunkka. No buyback on Alacrity's painful. He just bought out the full Bloodthorn, I believe, so he's not going to be able to defend. That's a minute 10 where he's gone. That's a lot of time with the Aegis up, and Palas can just get to work. He knows there's no burst damage to handle him. Nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, absolutely not. He's always got that rewind button too. Palos, kind of lacking some creeps, but they are on the way. Tidal wave just off the mark from Mamangdaya. Still Palos, he's going to try and make a jump in on Polison, but I suppose when you've got the rewind, you don't really need to think, you just keep going. And again, they don't have the stuns to really lock down Palos properly. They will break the Lincoln Sphere now, jump in, Epicenter is out, but Palos, you got the BKB in time, and in your dream, he's getting perma-bashed up. He can't get the ulti off. He finally gets it down. They do find JoeCam. They even hex up the Void. They've still got Chrono, though. He might be able to turn with the Aegis in hand. In fact, he's been very patient, but now the Torrent Storm is going to catch in your dream. Again, just perma-stunning him up. He'll try to survive, but the Chrono going to catch 3 heroes. Tidal Wave going to drag him out. It won't matter, though. They've still got the Monkey King down. They just clean them up, OB.Neon. So surgical with this draft. And NGX, they just don't have the answers.
They're just not able to counterplay, I know, Paulson.
Yeah, they've got Paulson. No borrowed time for another 10 seconds, and he just gets demolished. I thought I almost saw Paulson abandoning the game there, John, for a second of the Texas Paulson. Rather, Palos is going to jump in. They did land onto In Your Dream with that roll, but they aren't going to commit. They just want to go back for the tier 4s or maybe even the Megas. OB.Neon so close to getting a 2-0 victory here against NGX and proceeding to the lower bracket round of 3. But it's not over yet. NGX, they're still in it to try and force a game 3. As Mamangdaya is playing games here with Paulson. Roll forward, In Your Dream. He's going to be able to go back into Nigma with the kickback. Palos, he's going to be there. No Chrono this time around, but they've got so many bashes and the boat flies in. In Your Dream dies back. Sonic Wave does absolutely nothing as they go in onto Paulson again and again and again, and the GG Wall plays called. He's had enough. NGX, they will get kicked out of the BTS Pro Series Season 9 by OB.Neon in a 2-0 victory. And I'll tell you what, John, OB.Neon, they made it look easy.
It was an overwhelming set of wins from Neon, for sure, Mike. I think going into it, a lot of people might have preferred NGX, right? Like, initially, OB.Neon, when they had JMC and Abeng, they looked a bit shaky. They lost their core players all going out. You know, we were left with only Enry, really, to build around here for OB.Neon. But the addition of Mamangdaya and UK looks to have really revitalized the roster. And NGX, these guys went the distance in BTS Pro Series 8. You know, they managed to go far. They're cut short here. Neon just looking really strong. They play through their strengths well. They get these special heroes in Game 1 and Game 2. And just managed to take over. Like Mamangdaya with his Kunkka and Ryu with the Mars in Game 1. Now with the Darkseer in Game 2, just getting all the work done. And even Narman, Hustler with his signature Earth Spirit that he's performed on ever since Reality Rift. They just kind of got the games lined up. And for NGX, game one, maybe a drafting issue with a Winter Wyvern sliding through. Game two, I don't think it was really down to draft. It might have been just a bit, but maybe a couple of the itemization choices there. Like, I get that there's a point to the Abaddon Ag's first item just felt weird. Maybe a Force Staff could have saved. Maybe Yules
All
could
right.
have helped you isolate someone else as
We've got
well.
an interview, John. I can't keep UK waiting too long, so I'm going to have to cut you
Oh,
off here
yes.
as we do drag UK in. Good evening, Mr. UK. Congratulations on the victory, sir. How the hell are you feeling right now?
Good morning, good evening, Mike. I'm feeling good, always. I'm feeling good.
Very,
Doing
very,
good.
very good to hear, UK. Obviously, you're a new addition to OB.Neon. I'll ask you straight off the bat here against NGX. Were you a little bit worried going into this matchup, or were you guys very confident in being able to beat them out in this best of three?
We just treat everyone the same, and I think me and the team, our teammates, is capable to beat anyone. So we just prepare the best for ourselves, and I'm confident. Yep.
Absolutely. Tell me about OB.Neon. I mean, you've recently joined. You're a new addition here, along with Mamang Daya. How are they treating you, UK? Well, badly? You can tell me. I won't tell anyone else. Don't worry.
They are treating everyone well, and we just fooling around and having fun in the discussion and in the team meeting. We discuss a lot about the games and how we want to play the game. I think we execute well in this game. Yep.
Excellent. Can you talk to me about the main differences? Like, obviously you were quite close with the other boys in Army Geniuses. What do you think the big difference here is with OB.Neon, like you and Mamang Daya joining in?
I mean, on the AG, we were all brothers,
Hmm.
like on the start of our career till now, and it's just refreshing for me and Daya to we are getting pressured again to overcome our weakness, and it's really refreshing. I'm really excited for what's about to come.
Very good, very good. Go on, John.
I'm curious, UK. You know, it's you guys were together for so long in AG. Has that chemistry carried over? Like, are you guys also starting to fool around? Have you learned any Filipino words playing on Neon? That's the key thing, right? Like, do they treat you guys well? Are they speaking in English? Is communication a problem? Are you learning Filipino because of this?
Yeah, I'm learning a bit. They speaking Filipino a lot these palos and Andrew, they speaking a lot and singing a lot.
Oh, singing.
Uh,
It's
yeah,
singing.
and I speak with Mamang with in Bahasa.
So
So
you're telling me it's
Hasla
chaos.
is left out all the time.
So it's just chaos. Everyone's just speaking Tagalog. The guys are yelling, pasok kayo. Then you're like yelling Bahasa, and Hustle's just very calm there. Very nice to see. I'm curious to see what you think. Coming up next, you are potentially fighting against Yangon or Polaris. Any preferred opponent? Any particular opponent you're more scared or more confident against there?
Think we don't really think about that.
Okay.
Everyone is playing good. Everyone is will get treated well by us. I mean, we don't think the other team is better than this team. We just play our games and hope for
All
the
right.
best. Yep.
Okay.
All right, well, with that, I think I heard a phone call in the background, UK, so I'll let you go and attend to that. Congratulations again on your victory, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow in your next matchup.
Yep. Thank you, John,
Thank you,
Mike.
UK. Thank you.
Have a
See
good
you,
one.
UK.
Same to you, UK. What a lovely, lovely gentleman. We've talked to UK a couple times. You didn't mention, by the way, John. I thought you'd bring this up, but I believe Wami was talking about table tennis last time, and he kind of missed the boys. You didn't bring it
I
up,
mean,
John.
you already heard UK say, they were brothers. It's hard for brothers to split parts.
It's
Didn't
true.
want to get that pain back in. It sounds like he's adapting to his new family. Well, maybe down the line we'd have a Filipino interview with UK because it's chaos. This is the same thing. Boom happened. Remember that when Tim's came in and he was like, on the condition that you guys speak English. FBC would be like, yeah, that's fine, and then they don't. So we'll see if that changes. But so far, it's working well for Neon. Great to see for them. We'll see if it keeps up for them.
Yeah, we'll see if there's another ignition buff coming as well from this team, John. You never know. It worked for T1, OB.Neon. They might have something else in the books. We'll find out later, though. As we do go into our next series, another best of three in the lower bracket. I believe it is going to be YG versus Polaris. So both these newer teams have made it through. to the lower bracket round of 2. Of course, one of them does have to go home, and the other one will proceed to be against OB.Neon tomorrow in the lower bracket round of 3. And I believe we have roughly about 10 minutes before that game does begin. So we're going to head off to a short 10-minute break. And right after that break, we'll be back with game number 1 between YG and Polaris. See you then.